Hello everyone. Welcome to final thoughts video on Vampire Survivors with me, your host, Mr. Fox. And well, the first big uh, thought here is that for about €3, I got quite a lot of action for my investment. I think I played around 70 to 18 hours until now of this game. I did all the achievements, and even though it seems that it's like a very small game with not much to offer, this action roguelike mixed with some bullet hell um, really keeps you on the edge of the seat of your seat all the time. As you can see here, there are, as of now, with patch point 2, the game is still in very early access. There are 35 achievements. By unlocking some of these achievements, you will unlock 4 additional characters to complement the 4 base ones. You have from one game to another as a reward system the power-up selection. My thoughts on this would be to first of all, I use the lock to a maximum lock to get that extra chance for 3 or even 5 reward chests. That's sometimes you get very lucky, sometimes you're uh, the luck gods say no to you. Afterwards, I aimed for this to fire one more projectile. This for me is invaluable. And to get the other ones, I had a mix with Magnet and Greed maxed out. And after I went with with the maxed might to get that extra damage per rank. And afterwards, it's just area speed, area effect, speed of projectiles, duration of weapons. It's really up to you. I stayed clear from the survival ones. Armor, max health, and recovery did not seem that much helpful for me. And the most useless one, in my opinion at least, was the growth with the experience. I honestly don't see any use for this one. Had some extra points apparently, some extra gold from the old run. So yeah, that's my priority list. Be luck, close to amount, then greed, magnet, and the others, just to make sure that you'll get the fastest route possible to, well, almost the faster route possible to get all of the other power-up selections. Now, from the collection, this basically shows all the pickups and items and weapons that you can get. I will go quickly through all of these items. The whip that can evolve into bloody tear and can do critical and can deal critical damage and absorb HP. Now this one with this one starts Antonio. Antonio starts with. It seems like a good one. And with Antonio, yes, maybe you can go for it, my opinion. But overall, in the end game, this is not a good DPS decision. You just need to make the enemies come from above you most of the time to hit with this weapon all the time. So yeah, good, but mostly for Antonio. Imelda starts with the magic wand that just fires at the nearest enemy, and it can be upgraded with the holy wand. Evolve the magic wand that fires with no delay. This is good, but not as a main weapon. I would suggest it as a secondary weapon overall. So yeah, that's my thoughts on Holy One. Mostly because this you don't really have control on the direction of where you're fighting. So where you're fighting this, so that's the main thing that I don't really like it that much. It's not bad, but not great either. Next one, the knives and the thousand edge fire with no delay. This is Gennar's uh, weapon of choice. I might forget the exact names for these. This has some good DPS, so yeah, it's fine. But my main gripe with this one is that you are being chased by enemies all the time. So these fire exactly in the opposite direction, where basically where you are going, the knives will be thrown. Enemies will be always at your back if you just run. Staying in one place and trying to aim, it's kind of a hassle, to be honest. It takes an additional amount of skill that it's really not that great. I would still choose this over the magic wand. It's a matter of preference because at least you have some control over the direction. And also I think would be above the whip. Next one is the axe. High damage, high area scaling, and evolves into the death spiral that passes through enemies. This one is the one of the, if not the best weapons. Actually, no, not the best. I think it's the second best weapon that I've experienced so far as the Death Spiral upgraded version. It is kind of clunky to use at first because there's just some axes that fly above your head and go from north to south. It doesn't seem in the first levels that it's any good. It does good damage, but overall, for example, the whip or the knives feel better while being used in the first few levels, non-upgraded, compared to the axe. When the death spiral comes, it just shoots around you like a circle spiral of sights, and it just completely changes the game. Definitely get the axe if you see it. And now the second one would the next one would be the cross. That is basically like a boomerang. You shoot across like a boomerang, and it all evolves into a heaven sword that can deal critical damage. This, in my playtime experience, yielded the highest amount of DPS from all of the weapons that I've tried, and I tried pretty much all of them. And with this, um, the they evolved the weapon, the Heaven Sword, just shoots out randomly some swords that, from what I saw, pierce all the enemies. It just like does a wipe on the screen, and there are some, I think it's some sort of like pink swords, and it's the same scenario with the axe, only just slightly better. It feels slightly better to use the cross because of its boomerang effect, and you can a bit position compared to the axe. It's still very clunky to use, but after evolving it, it's just absolutely amazing. Um, the next one that I want to talk about, second, um, is the King Bible with the Unholy Vespers. This just shoots around. It's like a shield of Bibles that in the early levels is good. At the evolved level is absolutely fantastic. The only difference is that in the early levels, if it hits several enemies, it will for 1-2 seconds disappear, but and reappear right after. Evolved, it just continuously have a you'll just continually have a circle around you of it makes me feel much safer overall. Next one, the Fire Wand and the Hellfire upgraded. Fire Wand is absolutely atrocious uh, to use while not upgraded. I think it would be worse than the axe. You just shoot a few fireballs at your behind, from your ass, basically, and it's you have almost zero control on what in the early levels what you are hitting. That's the main thing. Um, Later on, when you evolve it, it becomes also some sort of a beast, and it goes up with the axe and the cross right up there. I would use it as a third option, in my opinion. Um, yeah, the Hellfire becomes a series of 3+ meteors, and they the meteors are huge. Let me tell you, compared to the Fire one, this is one of those staggering upgrades that are just amazing to have. So it's a definitely must use for your build. Even though it's as with the pattern is initially a weapon is weak or hard to use. If that happens, the upgraded version is absolutely fantastic. Then we have the Piccione, bombards in a circle zone, and Ebony Wings. These are the non-upgraded. They are not upgradable, so you won't have Piccione evolve into Ebony Wings. It's they are good. They fire at a set distance based on a circle that goes in a clockwise direction. Uh, Both are decent, but to me, it's I would set them at the same rank with the magic wand, like a secondary weapon. Yeah, sure, but it's a primary. No, don't choose this over axe or uh, cross or Bible or even fire wand. Next one, we have the Santa Water. Santa Water is just dropping puddles around you that at, at the first few levels they don't seem that much. They get stronger mid levels, and at high level with someone like Mortatius, or I think even Genar, it gets really strong. On my last video, if you watched with the Mortatius at uh, level 60, I was basically surrounded with Santa Water. It was a no-go zone. I could just sit in the same place and FK, and it was disastrous. The sheer amount of DPS these Santa Waters do is absolutely amazing. Same thing with the Rune Tracer. The thing here, the Rune Tracer is extremely bad at, in my opinion, for the first few levels, and it's again depended on something like the duplicator. This is the duplicator, fire more projectiles, and you will need to play with someone that duplicates projectiles like Mortatius or Genar. At the end game though, this having a bounce effect, and especially in the library, it's laser disco show basically. Huge amount of damage and DPS, and a definitely a good choice to have. Next one, Lightning Rig. This is cool, decent to have. Does quite some good damage, but again, you don't have control on what you're hitting. And compare, for example, for Rune Tracer or Santa Water, Rune Tracer bouncing, Santa Water sticking around for a few seconds. It's good, but compared to these, it's not that good. Then the garlic, or the extra bolts, as I like to call it, it's a high risk sort of situation that at the first levels you need to be like really close and personal with your enemies to actually make it hit. But even though at higher level you have more rings around you to help, it's like an aura. It's similar to the King Bible. It doesn't feel like it does enough damage overall, and that's sad, because look at it, it's like an extra pair of balls. You should definitely have an extra pair of balls, but unfortunately overall, if you want to have an aura type effect on you, you should go with the King Bible and not the extra balls. The other ones, Pentagram, erases everything in sight. Best with cooldown and luck only. So yeah, I was ignoring these, but you can pair these up with the ignores or best with to make some min-maxing as well. I am just talking from my own personal experience for each of these weapons. Pentagram, I hardly ever used it, because even though it kills everything off screen, when the next wave appears, it's it always has the feeling of being swarmed all of a sudden, and it has kind of a huge cooldown even with the reduced with upgraded levels. So yeah, looks cool, but I would not advise in really using this one. Another one that's kind of lame, needs some upgrading, is the Croc Lancet. Has the chance to freeze enemies in times, and it's freeze for something like 2 seconds if I'm not mistaken. And why would I use that? It does not do any damage and just stops the enemies for a few seconds. Even if it would be used defensively, the later stages you'll have enemies everywhere you'd go, and the safest place that you'd be would be in the actual place that you started, because you have cleared area there. If you move somewhere else, it's gonna be a mess. You will need to clear that zone as well to feel relatively safe. Now these were no, this is actually the last weapon. The Laurel shields you from damage when active and makes you invulnerable for a brief period of time. Now, this is an option to have if you want to feel a bit more safe, but overall, this does not do any damage. It's just makes you feel safer to pass through some enemies or do some risky moves. But compared to, for example, the Bible or even the garlic, I would not choose this Laurel. It's just to make you feel better about yourself. It's not that good, in my humble opinion. And the last weapon is something that is specific only to Mortaccio, the last character that we played. Throws a bouncing projectile. This, as it's with only Mortaccio, is only good with him, even though we would have been able to use it if we have been able to use it with someone else. It's just throwing bouncing bones at random directions with other people, to other enemies. This gets good with duplicator when having extra projectiles and at higher levels, of course, and at level 20, 40, and 60 with Mortaccio, because it's gonna be especially when you're surrounded, it's gonna be bouncing bones everywhere. So that's quite good. But I've been using this for my no upgradable items build. This is not an upgradable item, so is Laurel, Clock Lancet, or Pentagram, or Garlic, Lightning Ring, Rune Tracer, and the Pigeons and the Ebony Wings. It was decent, but it was decent combined with Rune Tracer and Santa Water. On its own, it was kind of a mess. On to the items, I'll just go briefly on these. It's not as important as the weapons. Spinach with extra damage is needed to upgrade your fire wand. Armor, not really recommended to use. Hollow Heart is needed for the whip upgrade, if you're into that. Fumarola, it recovers HP per second. Now, this hasn't felt very useful, but I found myself using it more often than I would like to think of. Holy Tome reduces cooldown by 8%, is needed by the magic wand for upgrade. Candelabrador, area of effect augmented, is needed for the axe upgrade. Bracer, projectile speed increased, is needed to upgrade the knives. Then there's Spellbinder. Spellbinder is increasing the duration of weapon effects by 10%. Is needed to upgrade the King Bible to the Unholy Vespers. Next, we'll have Duplicator, that is an absolute must-have for builds that are heavily reliant on the to fire more projectiles, which are pretty much all of them if you stay to think about it. Afterwards, Wings moves 10% faster. I'm not a huge fan of that. It may be useful when you play in hyper, but not that. Attract Orb pickups from characters for the gems are done from 5 away. This is decent to have if you want to level up just slightly faster. It's a decent option. Clover is needed to upgrade the cross. So, and it gets you extra luck. For me personally, it hasn't helped that much, so it's not wasn't that good. Um, but it is needed for the cross again. Crown, I almost did not use it at all. Extra experience seems way too low. Character earns 10 more percent 10% more gold with the stone max. This is pointless to have, especially if you're trying to get extra for even for farming. It doesn't feel like it's a good option to have. So stay clear. My opinion is to stay clear of these, and these are just experience gems, gold coins, 10 gold coins, 100 gold coins. Rosary destroys all enemies in sight. This is basically your oh shit button, and it's the equivalent of the pentagram. The only good thing that is better than the pentagram is that you just can stay in an area, have the rosary somewhere around you, and it doesn't take up a slot in your item selection. Orologion freezes in time all enemies for 10 seconds. This is great for just farming the hell out of some of you. Go into them and lawn mow everyone and get a very nice boost of experience. Vacuum, if you have a lot of gems scattered around, this will suck up all the gems left on the ground, and depending how messy you were, you can get several levels from this at the time. So definitely take this every time you have the chance. um, Next, floor chicken. You'll definitely be on the look for this orange juiciness when you get hit or you're almost dead. So yeah, I would recommend to keeping at least one around your area. Don't use them as you see them, just keep them around. Items don't despawn in this game, so you're good. This just gets Clover an extra 10% of luck. Treasure chests, these are the most awesome thing in the game because of their sound effect. Awards, coins, and power-ups. And they can offer, if you're me playing, you'll probably get just one reward, or you have the chance to get 3 rewards at the time, or even on some rare occasion 5 rewards. When you get 5 rewards, it's just absolutely bonanza. The music is amazing. So that's a very exciting um, moment in a playthrough, in any playthrough. Those are my thoughts on each of the items and weapons that you can collect. My top tier for DPS would be: first, get a cross; second, get an axe for the weapons; a Bible; and Santa Water 4; then Fire Wand 5; then Rune Tracer 6; and what else? For 7 and 8, you can get either Lightning Ring or Magic Wand, or even Knife or Whip. Mm, I don't really like the pigeons that much, so um, That's my opinion on the weapons. The order is really uh, hard to predict because it's you're depending on RNGs as well. Um, what I found was that all of these can be upgraded to have great DPS. So Rune Tracer, Santa Water, Cross, the Bible, the Axe, and the Fire Wand. All of these can be amazing. You just need to be careful enough to survive in the early levels to upgrade them. Don't get all of them at once. It won't help you to get one level of or two free levels of 6 weapons and basically all of them to be completely shit. Um, and yeah, the other ones, the items will be needed. Will You'll need the respective upgrade items for your 6 weapons if you choose weapons that can be upgradable. And a duplicator. I would definitely get for a duplicator and an attract orb as an item, extra item to have. Um, the others, I think I went through all of them already. Is secondary. You're gonna have a good time with either of them, but you're gonna have a good time with most of them in the first 10 to 15 minutes tops, unfortunately. Um, Lastly, I'm gonna go with the characters because I've been talking quite a lot about the items. Um, my favorite characters are Pascalina because yeah, she starts with a rune tracer, Mortaccio for his duplicator, Mortaccio and Gennaro for his duplicator. Um, gets more projectiles every 20 levels. This guy gets permanent +1 projectiles. So these are my top 3 characters. On the other hand, what I would think is the hardest to play with would be Poe with the extra ball sack, the garlic. Because just mainly because he has the -30 max health. So every time you're gonna be hit by something, you'll get almost half of health goodbye. So if you're into punishing yourself, play with Poe. And he also gets only the garlic, so it's not a great deal overall. The next two would on a difficulty to play, in my opinion, would be Imelda and Porta. Yeah, because Imelda starts with a magic wand, you don't have any control on your fire. Porta starts with a zapper ring, you don't have any control on that either. Um, and it's not a great. These are not are good as just secondary weapons, to say the most. Arca is just one step above of them. It's he is with the fire wand. Fire wand, even though it's very clunky to use, you'll get very happy to have it maxed out at and evolved at level 8. Um, and lastly, actually, Antonio is a great character to start with when you are just wanting to familiarize yourself with the game. His whip is decent, but you'll definitely not get the best DPS when you want to have a clear end game run with the starting whip. Um, so yeah, the first one uh would be well, actually it's very hard to choose between these three. Um, first one would be Gennaro with Antonio to as starter players start to play with. Then when you want the next level of challenge, you can go with Imelda and Porta, but you'll soon find out that it's not the greatest of decisions. Then you can go with Arca and Pascalina and Mortaccio as the extra level of difficulty, but with some good rewards in the long run. And well, lastly is Pope, but sorry, Pope, I cannot recommend it to anyone, even with your extra ballsack. It really comes to preference. If you just want to make use of weapons that are useful in the long run, Pascalina and Arca are the definite best ones, just with their starting weapon. Mortaccio is good as well with his bone starting weapon, but he is depending on having something like Santa Water or um, the other projectiles like the axe, the crosses, and so on. It's not the greatest of advantages in my point, but it's really close to Pascalina and Arca. Lastly, you can play with any of these. To be honest, it's not a very huge disadvantage. It's just having a different feel at the start of your game each time. And you'll feel it the most with Poe. Okay, all right, everyone. That's that was the point of this video, to go through everything this game has to offer. And what can I say? This game I will definitely recommend to everyone, because you're not gonna get any more bang for your buck from any other games, to be honest. Playing 17 hours and enjoying myself for 3 euros, while I played even 60 euros for games that are have offered about 10 hours of gameplay. That's something hard to beat. And this game is still in very much early access, so they will most likely bring us more and more content along the way. Yeah, kudos to the developers of Vampire Survivors. It's a breath of fresh air, to be honest, to see that good quality, fun little games can be created, and if the focus is set in the right direction. Definitely one of my favorite games in the past few months, and an absolute blast to play as a action roguelike bullet hell. The music, listen to that music, it's amazing, it's just out of this world. And it's still challenging. All the time I feel challenged about this game, and I keep learning new things even after this many amount of hours. And I'm sure that am missing and I have not learned many things about it yet. I do hope to see in the comments from any of you guys any other opinions on what else can be improved, maybe for the game, maybe for the builds, your build's opinions, what are your favorite characters, anything that shares a different opinion or even a better scenario on how to play the game is definitely welcome. And yeah, that's it. Mr. Fox is gonna sign off from Vampire Survivors for the last time, and would like to say to just remember to like, comment, and subscribe if you liked this videos and the other ones from before. And we'll definitely hope to see you in the next one. Thank you everyone. Mr. Fox signing off now. Bye!